Kia Home Office. Today is 24 August 2020. We will try to have something here, which is we will have the continuity of this model as the DBS NATO's model, and as consequence, of our systemic crime research on the continuous violation by, public institutions in Brazil and maybe other areas linked with, and sometimes even the corporate area with problems have the violation of the systemic crime as research. We will make a quick overview. We could have this pattern here as the types of distortion in the failure tolerance association and interconnective environment by failure could be the cyberspace. We will evidence this by the interest to do not have the continuity of the systemic crime research if you violate the privacy of one specific instrument, could be the blog or whatever. And then you have this map as association, you track one, you get all by the interconnected field as the IoT. And then you will have you can have this pattern. If you got the idea of interconnected variable, you come here to the top, have the control of activity. As operation, you can observe that the distribution. By the other side, you have the system of clandestine interest and do not have the continuity of this kind of research. You have your public area, you have your cooperative area, taxonomy 1100 as proper, not proper. Prevalence, you observe the pattern that you have. We could have this situation here, which is the idea of IoT, the systemic crime research, violations, transference to the Interpol as the financial factor, 18 trillions in the last moment by the association that you have conditional value, 1% of the first 3 trillion as research, considering interest of United States, top government, and the election period, and probably strategic plan that you could have, all those things. The charge by equity jurisdiction could be done in USA, considering this interest as major drivers to have the charge. You have the cluster of IoT index as an interval that you set to have the control of the DHC, which is the distribution by hierarchical value. It doesn't matter what crime you are committing, the very first moment you can get you under the flagrante delicti. But after this interval as space, considering the time that will pass, the behavior that you have the development, you probably have the separation and you have the typical behavior, which indeed is all a type of crime. And you will observe that you can have maybe this distribution as value, as you can observe that in the very first moment everybody is negative, as you could observe here, because you didn't have distribution. This pattern of distribution or inner distribution will have after this disrupted moment here. But you can have the extension on your time as control to prevent this kind of thing, and how we use this on real world by the empirical model as we are doing all the time. We will consider that you will have control by DBS quadrant. It's quite simple, it's quite clear. You will consider the DBS, this is a system, and you have your medical registry, your medical registry from January up to June. And then you have the month before election, medical report, local, international, until June, medical report, local, international, 1 month before election. Let's suppose November, you will have a gap here, which is July and August. In the same way, you will have your financial report from January up to June, from 1 month before election or 1 month before election, and you have the distribution as value, quality local and international, with the gap in the middle. You can observe if this gap could have any relation to do this approach inside the systemic analysis, as you can observe on financial or on medical, or by the transfers before the disruptive moment that we are considering the election period, which is this period here. It means that we are taking a sampling moment at this procedure and transfer to this area here. It means that we are kind of have the extension of this moment, and then you force the continuity of illicit activity, and then you have the coverage of by the control, of the next period. I mean, before the election. You do this kind of, you hold the money or the credit covered as the relational association by the financial transfers and the provider thing. And then you observe that before you have this distribution here, all things are kind of very the same. It's this moment here. After the distribution, you will have, as we can observe here, something like this. Let's suppose if the primary behavior is corruption, if you do not have the continuity, maybe you do not have the financial crime, the fake registry on a medical report, to have the integration of both as list again, because you have the control by the time. And then you have the quadrant, the DBS quadrant. You can observe that we are having a model here, a complex model, with this situation, double Y as the timeline within distribution as local and international. You can put A major letter, A small letter, 11001100. A is a big letter with a different color, 1100 in the same way. And then you will observe that if we could have the extension of control by the time, considering the sampling interval on the time at this, let's suppose, criminal procedure, you probably will have this quadrant here as a distribution. The line, as you can observe, as the integration or the field of attraction, and then you will have the separation in each moment, considering in each quadrant the segmented analysis of each event. And then you will observe if could have any kind of complementarity that you give the idea of domain or an image. We are using here the Claus-Roxanne theory to have the domain and image, or the hidden domain that we are not observing, based on the Norberto Bobbio theory, which the registry can be used as proof by the medical registry and the transference on body gets, including the information request as requirement by the bank, considering the interval Brazil 2012 up to 2020 financial crime law. Request as international request order to local authorities have, present the questions to all embassies in Brazil at this period, considering the FIFA and the Olympics. Not proper info is a crime, it's explained on board. Have a nice week.